Hello and welcome. It is Deck Tech time. I'm joined by Dan Ward. Welcome, Dan.
Welcome. Thank you.
Now, Dan, you've been to a couple of Pro Tours. You've got a super sweet brew for this weekend, and you're not the only one playing it, right? Tell us about the team that you've gotten yourself attached to and some of the crew that's going to be running your deck this weekend.
Okay, so I'm super excited to be working with Team Deck's Army, which is deck protection. It's the Brazilians, the Spaniards, we have some Chileans.
So Willie Adel, Thiago Saporito, all those guys?
Saporito, yes, Pedro Cavallo. A lot of great players, a lot of good people, more importantly. So I created the brew, and we're calling it Temurai. So it incorporates Temur, which is like my favorite thing with Knuckle Blades. It's great, and it hasn't been good for a while.
Okay.
With Jeskai Charm.
So
and
it's a Teamer deck, it's a Jeskai deck, and it's kind of a Dragons deck too.
Yes. If anyone who knows me knows I love dragons. This is my 4th Pro Tour. I've top 8 Grand Prix with dragon decks. I love brewing dragon decks. Going into this PT, like my one card that I really liked was Dragonic Roar. It felt like really good removal, and being in a tempo deck, which Temur usually tends to want to be, and Mana Strider is obviously a tempo card too.
Sure.
Getting 3 extra points in is great. Like, it's fantastic. Showing them Thunderbreak and they see it's coming, who cares? Like, they can't deal with it. They deal with it, they take 3.
All right, so our crew has labeled it 4-color dragons. That's, I think, what you'll see it called in the coverage.
Okay.
I don't know if it's, it's like a Teamer deck. Is it I don't even know if it's Teamer or Jeskai. Let's just start looking at some cards.
You got it.
All right, so you start with Ramp, and tell me about this guy.
This guy's insane. So he can play every single creature in your deck, which is a ton, because you're only playing Dragonic Roars, 2 Jeskai Charms, and Stubborn Owl for some removal. Everything else, 25 lands, the rest is creatures. So him being
able... So it's like 30-some creatures in the list?
30-ish? Like 26, I believe, or something like that. Something whatever. Playing this guy on turn 2, following up with a Woodland Wanderer, the new card, is just gas. You're just like, here's a 6 as Vigilance Trample, deal with it, you kill it, I'm coming out with another threat. One of the good really sweet plays I like to do is playing Rattleclaw Mystic on turn 2.
Sure.
Then playing the Savant on turn 3, having another mana to play Mana Strider as well. So now you've ramped your mana because...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it really curves out really nicely.
Yeah, so the haste actually kicks into in addition to the color
this guy's, thanks to Wizards for giving us perfect mana bases almost, this guy makes it even better to be able to play cards like later we're going to talk about, like Icefall Reader.
Yeah, because you're a thoroughly 4-color deck, and we've seen a lot of 4-color decks out there that are mostly sort of fetch land, battle land fueled. But your Beastcaller Savant fixes the mana, Rattleclaw Mystic fixes the mana, and you were telling me a story earlier about morphing this guy.
So this card's great in testing. All my guys, after like the first day of me building this deck, knew what was going on. So they totally was ready for all of my morphs, which is Ash Cloud in this card.
So no Den Protector, crucially.
No Den Protector. However, when I first started testing it about the first 10, 15 games, every time I'd play Rattleclaw Mystic in the middle of the game, or even sometimes early, I'd make sure to look in my graveyard. So all of the mono red players didn't want to deal with Den Protector so I could get back Dragonic Roar. They would just kill it right away, and it was fantastic.
All right, so we got the mana ramp color. Let's look at some more creatures.
All right.
Yeah, you want to talk about thoroughly 4-color. The Jeskai Mantis Rider, the Teamer Savage Knuckleblade, and Woodland Wanderer is 6/6 in your deck, yeah?
Yeah, he's insane. Knuckleblade, we only have 3 of them because we felt green-white was going to be super popular. We didn't want anything super clunky, losing to Deathmance Raptors.
Okay.
We don't have great removal for Hangerback Walker, so we wanted 1 less. But yeah, looking at the mana curve, you're just like, wow, 3 of that, then you need the green. That's where the dorks really, accelerate you. And if they're not killing the dorks, a lot of times you're able to have, with 11 fetches, the perfect mana to get just that basic, then whatever duel you need.
And I joked about Woodland Wanderer being a 6/6 in your deck, because you can just generate 4 different colors of mana. Is that realistic?
It's realistic. I'd say within testing here for about a week, I'd say about 85 to 90% of the time, it's a 6/6.
And you've played, 2 rounds as we've recorded this?
Yeah.
Does he come down yet?
Yes, every time.
Every time?
Every time.
How many times?
Against Ramp, every time. I played Ramp and I played Mono Red so far, so I've played the card 3 times in 2 matches, and it's been a 6/6.
So 6/6 Vigilance Trample, that seems all right for 4 mana.
I think so. It beats Siege Rhino, so we found it. We broke it.
Nice. Let's look at some more cards.
Here's my personal taste on the deck, the Dragons.
8 dragons in the deck.
So getting to go with Dragonic Roar and having the temple play of Mana Strider, putting your opponent on the back foot, being able to play this card, it's the best removal spell maybe is Abzan Charm, and a lot of my creatures, all of my creatures pretty much that matter, they get killed, but this is punishing them for it at least, so they're taking some kind of damage. This guy right here is bonkers. I mean, we tested so many games with like Whisperwood, Sirach the Dragonclaw, different 5-drops. This guy has been so great because of the mana dorks allow you to play him like turn 4. And so your opponent can't cast Abzan Charm as an instant. They have to like take their entire turn to kill it because they have to pay 2 more.
Right.
Not to mention it freezes out whatever you need for a turn.
Nice.
It's great. It just clears the path.
And then as you mentioned, 8 dragons lets you play Draconic Roar, which we'll see in the fairly limited spell set that's coming up. 4 copies of Draconic Roar, is that just the best removal spell? That's where you want to be?
Yeah, I think that's where we want to be. The only matchup, it's not really great. Obviously, the control decks, and it's not so hot against green-white per se because they have the Death Mist and stuff like that and Dromoka's Command. But every other deck in the format, like mostly Mono Red and Jeskai, it kills all of their creatures and punishes them for it. So it does 2 things for once. The Jeskai Charm was a late addition.
Yeah, tell me about Jeskai Charm, because that's, of all, you have 4 colors of spells to choose from. I don't know that was necessarily the one I was expecting to see.
So originally, I was not trying to be as greedy, believe it or not, and I was trying to play Crater's Claw, another dragon card, that I felt like when we have Ferocity, which is all the time, you can play it as a shock if you need to, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility in addition to a super late game.
Sure.
However, luckily, I have a Hall of Famer, Willie Adel, on my team, and he goes, well, why don't you try this card? It's great against Mono Red because it gives you lifelink. The 4 damage most of the time against, the Crater's Claw is going to deal 4 or 5. In a Dream World, you're going to deal a lot, but usually 4 or 5. And the fact that, everyone's playing 3 to 4 colors right now, they go to fetch, put your creature on top, bro. Sorry.
Oh my! So you're just punishing everyone else for all the fetch lands they're playing.
Blowing them
turns
out.
Into a creature removal spell. Put it on top, and they're shuffling it away whether they want to or not.
And the best part about this card that I love is no one plays around it. You're going to get them every single time. And then even game 1, they have to play around the card for the rest. I had my first match. The guy was like, "Yeah, I couldn't play this because if you have Jeskai Charm, I'm just dead." It was fantastic.
And then a couple Stubborn Denials? How good are they?
This card is probably the weakest card in the deck, but can be the most important for the decks that are just trying to go removal, because we're just trying to ramp a big guy.
Yeah, sure.
So sometimes the one fault of the deck maybe is that if they kill your first creature, your second creature, then you're going for the long game. You may lose that battle if you keep drawing creatures. But with playing the Dork, I'll play my weakest guy on turn 3 usually against those control matchups, and then follow it up with Woodland Wanderer and the mana up. So this way, it's they're not resolving any spell that we care about.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, now I want to see the mana base.
Okay.
I mean, I know these mana bases, so we start to the surprise of absolutely no one. 11 fetch lands.
11 fetch lands. We want to be as clean as possible. We have no 1-drops, so we want to usually get a 2-color land.
Okay.
The great thing about this, they all get white and they all get green. So green is the most important color, obviously, because we're trying to ramp.
The Rattle Mystic and the Beast Color
Savant. Yeah, we're trying to get in there.
So let's look at the next batch. This is, I think, where we put, here's the Battle Lands. And just 1, 2, and 2?
Yeah, 1, 2, and 2. The double red, we're hedging on the fact that it can get by the 8 fetches, so Windswept Heath and Foothills both get this, which is great. And we need double red for Thunderbreak on time. Red's probably the dominant color, red and green.
So you have to start with green, but you need double red by turn 4.
Yeah, if we don't have a dork. So it can get kind of complicated, but with having fetch lands, you can, the hardest thing when you look at your opening hand is designating which ones to use right away so that you have the flexibility in the mid to late game.
That feels like a real skill this weekend. I mean, that's the kind of thing it's like each new hand is a little puzzle to solve, or how does that play out?
Yeah, so I told all my guys that are playing the deck, take about 10 to 15 seconds while your opponent thinks you're deciding whether you're mulliganing. You're actually just deciding whether or not this land is profitable to play first or to hold back. So that's
and with no 1-drops, you're not really planning to have 2 basics and get these into play untapped. You're planning to get one on the first turn.
There's very few games that you want to do that, and they consist usually of having a Rattleclaw Mystic or a Wanderer, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Okay.
In a sense, it's a small percentage.
Fair enough. Let's look at the next batch of lands. 2, 1, 1, 1. Just 4 different kinds of basics.
Yet again, when on turn 2, if we need an untapped source, we want it to be red for Dragonic Roar.
Got it.
And we want one of each to be able to, you need some basic lands for the dual lands to not be so terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not, the double red for Thunderbreak, again, we want to make sure that we can play that card.
Makes sense. And then the last couple lands, a couple of more traditional duels, right?
So this doesn't really make sense with running all of the dual lands, but I needed a way to put more blue in the deck and red. So they just kind of fit. This guy's been sweet. Yet again, I mentioned we don't have.
Is good.
Yeah, it's great against all of the control decks, but it's been good in the creature matchups too.
Okay.
Because it just puts them in a position to where okay, late game. they used all their removals, and guess what? This guy has hexproof, so they can't use the removal. You know, Foul Tongue or Crackling Doom, always hitting my big guys early. They're going to be hitting the Wanderers and the Regents and stuff. So this guy just kind of like chills out. And it kind of helps too because I'm running 25 decks. Not a lot of aggro decks like to run like that many, especially with having 8 dorks.
Right.
But like I can afford to do that with running.
25 lands and 8 mana creatures.
Yeah. But I can kind of afford to like hedge on that with running this.
That certainly helps a lot. All right. Now tell me about the sideboard. You got some sweet tech for us on the sideboard as well?
I do have some sweet tech. So I like how they brought up everything against mono red. Everyone's hating on it, including me.
Yeah, you clearly had a target in mind when you put the sideboard together, right?
Yeah, we didn't want to lose to red. You know, we knew it was going to be a huge deck at the Pro Tour, mainly because besides the deck that, you know, I came up with, Temurai, we didn't think there was any hard, you know, set, somebody broke it. So when there's a format like that, people tend to traditionally play the mono reds, like the easy, I don't want to say easy playable decks, but like the forward thinking decks.
Sure.
And so I wanted a little bit of diversity in the sideboard. So I chose Surge, which obviously gains life and is great against them, Silk Wrap, and Radiant Flames. Surge also has, you know, different targets for like Abzan matchups and Jeskai. Silk Wrap originally was Rendering Volley, but we wanted to hedge, and we figured it was a lot better because it got rid of and actually exiled Jace, Grandmaster, all of those cards, which are problematic. Like if you kill that card and then they go to turn 4, you go to try to play a threat if they killed you dork, and they go Ojutai's Command, I'll go get back my Jace, kill your Wanderer or counter your Wanderer, and you're losing that game. Where this card is great against mono red because they're just trying to pump. So if they have a handful of pump and they have no creatures to pump it on, it's great. This guy's a kind of catch-all.
Radiant Flames?
Yeah, like I wanted it to, like I think it's going to catch people off guard because I'm playing 8 mana dorks. So if you see a lot of dorks, there's no way you're thinking Radiant Flames. But what they don't know is I'm cutting all of the Savants and one of the Rattle Claws going in. I want to play the game of just kill guy, kill guy, kill guy, big guy. So, and I also thought like this going into this week, someone was going to be playing either Jeskai tokens, Mardu tokens, something like this. I felt it would be relevant, and I wanted to diversify my package.
All right, let's look at the rest of the sideboard.
All right, so Ashcloud Phoenix is the last addition to the deck. Originally, I had 1 Sarkhan Unbroken and 1 Whisperwood Elemental.
Okay.
We decided, and this was Julian and Bolovo Saporito, decided that we like this card a lot more against the green-white matchup. And in control. They can't block it, they can't kill it. We're bringing like the wraps in for the hangers, so they have like little to no flying. And it's just great, a control card, and good against pretty much everything as far as like removal, because they have to kill it twice.
Sure.
So.
Makes sense.
Extra Denial and the Disdainful Strokes, we wanted to deal with sweepers. Like I said,
tell me about the one on the end over there. You got a little more converged action going on. It's not just the Wanderer.
This guy is awesome. So
Exert Influence, just
one of the matchups that was like really close was Jeskai Black because they have Crackling Doom for my big guys and they have great creatures, so it's really close. We want to bring this card in against them and Abzan and just steal the tempo. Just take their Manus Riders.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking anything,
their Tasigur. Yeah, everything in their deck.
Up to 4 power.
Yeah, not Ojutai. We're not that greedy. I was thinking about playing a Black Source, but we didn't do it. And so it takes everything in their deck. And like the best thing, taking a Siege Rhino from them, it's insane. It's just so fun.
Awesome. So 4-color dragons. What's the matchup you're hoping you get paired against? What's the great matchup?
I want to play the mid-range slower decks. The mono red is fine, but this mono red version without like the burn and having the combo,
you're just bigger and over the top of the mid-range.
In testing, I was like 50-50 game 1. And after bringing in like the 9 cards, it was still very close. Like I was edged, I was favorite, but not by much.
So that's what you don't want to get paired against.
Yeah, like mono red, I kind of want to stay away from, but like it's weird. Like I want to play mid range.
Doesn't sound like there's anything that terrifies you.
Yeah, Esper Dragons maybe if they have a correct list and they have all of the sweepers. My deck can be a little weak to the sweepers, like we discussed before.
Awesome. So. Well, look, if you want to summon big creatures, Dan's got the way to do it.
Temurai.
Stay tuned, guys. Got more coverage coming right up.